Senior officials have been reaching out to lawmakers. A short time ago, they wrapped up a conference call. More now from Dana Bash, who joins us now. So this conference call between the White House and members of Congress, what do you know about it?
Well, I just talked to a lawmaker who was on that call, and it lasted for more than an hour, close to an hour and a half. And the gist of the administration's message was what we've heard publicly, that they believe that Assad's regime did use chemical weapons. That was the main message. They insisted that no decision has been made with regard to military action. There's no timetable on what or when that would be. But I'm also told, even though there were 20 to 25 people of both parties on this call with administration officials, we're talking about the secretaries of state and defense and others, it wasn't antagonistic. I'm told it was a good discussion. They listened to everybody's opinions. The opinions, as I'm sure you would suspect, were varied. But no one actually said don't do it. Now, one of the questions that I had is what the effect of that vote in Parliament in Great Britain would have been on members of Congress. And the answer that Obama officials gave is that the U.S. is going to do what it needs to do, and another country will not dictate what the U.S. does. So no one, I'm told, from the administration conceded that the U.S. would ultimately have to go without Great Britain, but they made very clear that it's not up to Great Britain what the U.S. decides needs to be done with regard to national security interests. The other thing I can tell you, though, is that this was a non-secure phone call. Members of Congress, senators were in their districts and states, some of them on cell phones, so they couldn't do this on a secure line. So I'm told that there were some answers that they simply couldn't give because much of this is still classified.
And Congress isn't scheduled to come back for another 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Is there any chance they'll come back early, vote on Syria like their British counterparts did? Doesn't seem like it.
Very unlikely. I mean, first of all, look what happened in Great Britain, Anderson. I was told even before that happened that one of the reasons why even Republicans who run the House don't want to call the House back is because they don't want to have that kind of result. For the most part, even though they're not happy necessarily with the way the president is or isn't making his case publicly, they generally support the idea of making sure that Syria doesn't have chemical weapons, perhaps using some surgical military strikes. So they wouldn't want to put the U.S. in a position of having an authorization vote, even just a resolution that went down that would embarrass the president and the United States. And one more thing I can tell you is that as we were talking, I got an email from Senator Bob Corker, who not only was on this call tonight, but also had a classified briefing earlier today. He was sort of circumspect before. He said that he now, seeing what he saw with regard to intelligence, feels that he would support surgical military strikes against Syria.
All right, Dana, thanks for reporting.